Lendlease Global Commercial REIT has received quite great demand from the market during its IPO. The IPO was actually 14 times oversubscribed back in 2019. Lendlease Global REIT is one of the few REITs in Singapore with a reputable sponsor, which is Lendlease Limited. And Lendlease Limited is one of the largest developers in Australia, listed on the ASX, with market capitalization now of around 5 billion Aussie dollar. And they have a revenue that is even higher than CapitaLand and CDL combined. So you can really see Lendlease Limited as the CapitaLand of Australia, with multiple projects all around the world, from helping Google develop its new HQ in Silicon Valley to being part of the developer of the infamous TRX Tower in Kuala Lumpur. It also managed around 35 billion worth of property funds in the world for investors. And Lendlease Global REIT started out with only 2 key properties, 313 Somerset in Singapore and also Sky Complex in Milan, Italy. And together they have an asset value of around 1.4 billion Sing dollar. But since its listing, the REIT has built up its interest in JYEU, one of Singapore's most popular malls. And since April this year, the REIT has fully acquired JYEU into its portfolio. JYEU is now the crown jewel of the REIT, contributing about 60% of the REIT's asset value. And the REIT has a gearing ratio of around 40%, which is quite reasonable. However, its weighted average debt maturity is only around 2.8 years. That creates a significant refinancing risk for the REIT. But also because of its short debt tenure, it can have a very low cost of debt at just 1.69%. So I have to confess that after its acquisition of JYEU, this REIT is looking more and more attractive to me. And some of the reason why I wasn't attracted to this REIT in the first place was number one, because of dilution risk. Because as it started out with only 2 properties, it is quite clear that the REIT would have to make some major acquisition over time. And given that the sponsor has such a huge portfolio of properties that could be injected into the REIT, I have decided to take a sideline first at the beginning to see how management is able to deal with future acquisition. As the sponsor, Lendlease would want to have a business model of recycling their property into the REIT to raise their cash level. So it's quite clear that Lendlease Global REIT will be used by them more or less like a recycling bin. However, during the IPO, there's no real track record of the REIT, and it is unclear if each acquisition can be done at a fair arrangement to unit holders. And more importantly, there is also a high possibility that future acquisition will require unit holders to subscribe to more rights issue to raise funds. And if that's the case, the distribution that the investors are getting from the REIT might just be used for future rights issue anyway. But right now, after acquisition of JYEU, I feel that the REIT is in a much more stable position. So it might be more interesting right now. And another complaint I have with this REIT before was its tenant mix concentration. As Sky Complex was a long-term master lease to Sky Italia, which was a major tenant, that take up about 30% of gross rental income during that time. But again, after the acquisition of JYEU, the REIT now has a much better diversified tenant mix, which is a good thing. And lastly, valuation of Lendlease Global is also at a more attractive position right now. After the entire S-REIT see a huge correction a few months ago, Lendlease Global REIT is now trading below its book value, and it has a yield more than 6.5%, which is pretty attractive to dividend investors. So that's sum up my thoughts on Lendlease REIT. What are your thoughts on this REIT? Share with us below. And if you've gotten value from this video, I hope you give us a like and share it with a friend who might benefit from it as well. Anyway, as always, my name is Stanley. Till we meet again, invest safely.